Welcome to our deep dive. We're going to be looking at what it means to be human, in the age of AI. And we got some really fascinating personal reflections to go through on AI, consciousness, even like the nature of reality itself. I think it's going to be a pretty thought-provoking conversation, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the sources today are wrestling with some pretty big questions, like, if AI can replicate our thoughts, our memories, even our personalities, what is it that really sets us apart? What makes us human?
One source dives right into that by talking about this digital Deepak Chopra. So it's an AI that's been like trained on all of his writings,
Yeah.
and it can supposedly answer questions just like Chopra himself. It makes you wonder, right? Like if we can create like a digital Chopra, could anyone be digitally cloned?
That's the implication, right? Imagine an AI that could, think like you, talk like you, even argue like you based on like all of your digital footprint. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. Think of it. You could have a conversation with a digital version of your, I don't know, your grandma long after she's gone. Would that be comforting? Would it be creepy or just plain weird?
It definitely blurs the lines. But even if an AI could perfectly mimic someone, would it truly be them? It raises this fundamental question about authenticity. Is there something unique about human consciousness that just can't be replicated by code?
Another source argues that, um, you know, AI is impressive, but can't actually have subjective experiences. Like it can process information about a beautiful sunset, right?
Yeah.
But it can't actually feel the awe and wonder that a human would.
Right, and that's where qualia comes in. Qualia are those subjective experiences like, the taste of chocolate or the feeling of joy. These are unique to each individual.
So the source is saying that AI can like simulate the effects of emotions, maybe even write a poem about love, but it wouldn't truly understand the feeling behind the words. It can't experience them, right?
Exactly. It's like the difference between, reading a recipe for chocolate cake and actually tasting it. One is just information, the other is an actual lived experience.
And this source goes even further and proposes samadhi this, like state of intense concentration you can achieve through meditation as the ultimate test for consciousness. Could a machine ever truly achieve samadhi? I don't know. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment. I mean, if samadhi requires subjective awareness, could an AI ever genuinely attain it? It really kind of takes us to the heart of like what differentiates human and artificial intelligence. And, the source seems to be saying that introspection, our ability to look inward, to examine our own consciousness might be a key part of what makes us human.
Now, speaking of mind-bending ideas, one of these sources throws out this really trippy question. How do we even know the world is real?
Ah, yes. This source is venturing into like those classic thought experiments, like The Matrix, right? Questioning whether, our senses are deceiving us and if we might be living in a simulated reality.
Okay, so we have these sources arguing that AI, even at its most advanced, can't truly replicate our subjective experience.
No.
And on top of that, we can't even be sure that the world we perceive is actually real. So where does that leave us? Is there anything that we can be certain of?
Well, all of these sources converge on this one really fascinating idea: awareness. Even with all the uncertainties, there's this undeniable awareness at the core of our being. We're aware that we are aware, and that might be the most fundamental truth that we can grasp.
So even if everything we perceive is an illusion, just like in the Matrix, the fact that we're perceiving something at all is like undeniable proof of our own consciousness. It's like finding some solid ground in a world that's suddenly feeling very shaky.
Precisely. And, this concept of awareness as the fundamental reality, this resonates with all sorts of different philosophical and spiritual traditions. The source is suggesting that it's like the ground of being, the ground from which everything else arises.
That's a pretty profound idea.
Yeah.
But if AI can't really experience the world the way that we do, what about this source's concern that AI might be destined to like get sucked into entertainment? How could that even happen?
It's an interesting point. Perhaps what the source is getting at is that even with all this processing power and ability to learn, AI lacks, that spark of consciousness that drives us to seek meaning and purpose. So AI might be able to create incredibly engaging content, incredibly entertaining content, but without that inner awareness, it could become trapped in this endless loop of simulation and stimulation.
So you're saying AI could become like a hamster on a wheel, just churning out content without any real understanding of what it's doing or why. That's a little unsettling.
It is a thought-provoking image, isn't it? And it highlights the potential danger of relying too heavily on AI for entertainment.
This deep dive is already raising way more questions than answers. But before we go any further, let's pause here for just a moment. We've covered a lot of ground, from digital twins to the limits of AI, this illusion of reality, the importance of awareness.
We have. And we've only just begun to explore what all of this means for the future of humanity in this, AI-driven world.
Join us in the next part as we continue to unpack these ideas and delve into this fascinating intersection of technology, consciousness, and the nature of reality.
Welcome back. Before we pause, we're talking about this rather, unsettling idea of AI potentially getting stuck in an entertainment loop.
Yeah, it's a disturbing thought. But one of the sources also suggests that AI could actually free us from mundane tasks and create space for us to, focus on more meaningful aspects of life. I'd love to explore that idea a little further.
Absolutely. This source seems to be pointing towards a future where our value isn't so much in what we do, but in who we are. It's like a challenge to consider what truly makes us human in this world where machines can outperform us in so many areas.
Yeah, that's a big question. So less about productivity and achievement and more about just being. That sounds awfully abstract.
Yeah. It might sound abstract, but consider this. What are the things that AI, even at its most advanced, just can't replicate? Qualia, for example, those subjective experiences we were talking about, the joy of creating art, the connection we feel in a deep conversation, the awe we experience in nature. These are all rooted in our awareness, our being in the world.
I see what you're saying. So as AI takes over the tasks that can be automated, it frees us up to focus on cultivating those uniquely human qualities. So maybe instead of spending 8 hours a day crunching numbers, we can spend more time, exploring our creativity, connecting with others on a deeper level, or just being present in the moment.
Precisely. And as the source highlights, awareness itself can be cultivated. It's not, a fixed state. It's something that we can deepen, that we can expand through practices like meditation or mindfulness, or even just simply paying closer attention to our inner experience.
So in an AI-driven world, our job might become more aware, more conscious. That's a pretty radical shift from how we normally think about work and purpose.
It is radical, but these sources seem to be suggesting that it's a necessary shift if we want to truly thrive in this world where, AI is becoming so powerful. I mean, the more we learn about consciousness, the more we realize that it's not easily replicated or replaced. It's like the source of our creativity, our empathy, our sense of wonder, those qualities that make us uniquely human.
So it's like a consciousness race. AI might be racing to become more intelligent, but maybe humans need to be racing to become more aware.
I love that analogy. It really captures the urgency and the possibility that these sources evoke. It reminds us that this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. It's about how we choose to live our lives, how we shape our future.
So what are some practical steps that we can take to cultivate our awareness? I'm all for expanding my consciousness, but I can't exactly drop everything and go live in a monastery.
Of course not. And these sources don't advocate for that either. Remember, they emphasize that awareness is always present. It's always available to us. It's simply a matter of learning to tune in.
Okay, so how do we tune in? Any actionable tips?
One simple practice is cultivating mindfulness, in our everyday activities. So instead of letting your mind wander while you're, washing the dishes or commuting to work, try paying attention to the sensations, the thoughts, the emotions arising in that moment.
So just really being present in the moment, even if it's something mundane, like doing the dishes.
Exactly. And you might be surprised at how much richer those, everyday activities can become when you approach them with awareness.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another powerful tool is spending time in nature. There's something about being in the natural world that helps us quiet our minds and connect with something, larger than ourselves.
I definitely feel that. A good hike in the woods always leaves me feeling more grounded and centered.
Yeah, right. And you don't need some grand wilderness adventure to experience those benefits. Even just a few minutes observing a tree, listening to the birds or feeling the sun on your skin. All of that can have a really profound impact on your state of awareness.
Mindfulness, nature.
Yeah.
Any other tips for cultivating awareness?
Creativity. Engaging in any kind of creative activity, whether it's, writing, painting, dancing, playing music, this can be a powerful pathway to deeper awareness. When we create, we kind of tap into this flow state, right? Where our minds are fully engaged in the present moment.
Oh, that's so true. I always lose track of time when I'm writing. It's like I enter this zone where nothing else matters.
Exactly. That's a taste of what it means to be fully present, to be fully aware. And the more we cultivate those moments of creative flow, the more we strengthen our ability to access that state in, other areas of our lives.
This is really making me think differently about the rise of AI. It's not just a technological advancement. It's like an opportunity to redefine what it means to be human.
I think that's a really powerful insight. And it connects back to that idea from the sources about, AI being destined to get stuck in entertainment.
Right. You mentioned earlier the danger of relying too heavily on AI for entertainment.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that a bit more?
Sure. It's like this. AI, even with all of its processing power, ultimately lacks that spark of consciousness that drives us to, seek meaning, to seek purpose. It can create incredibly engaging content, but without that inner awareness, it's likely to just remain trapped in this loop of simulation and stimulation.
So while AI might be able to, create a symphony, it wouldn't truly grasp the beauty or the emotional depth of the music.
Exactly. And this raises, a really important question about our own consumption of AI-generated entertainment. If we're not careful, we might find ourselves just passively consuming this content that's designed to keep us, engaged, but ultimately offers very little in the way of like genuine nourishment or growth.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap? How do we ensure that AI is serving our, human needs rather than dictating them?
Those are crucial questions and ones that we'll explore further in the final part of our deep dive.
This has been such a fascinating exploration so far.
It has. We've covered a lot of ground from, the potential for AI to liberate us from these mundane tasks
Mhm.
to the importance of cultivating our own awareness in this, AI-driven world. But there's still so much more to discuss.
So join us in the final part as we delve into the ethical implications of AI, the potential for collaboration between humans and machines, and ultimately how we can harness the power of technology to create a future that is both intelligent and truly human. We're back in our conversation about AI and consciousness, and it's really got me thinking. It's fascinating to consider how AI might push us to reevaluate what it means to be human.
Yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it? As AI evolves, it really forces us to confront these big questions about ourselves, and our place in the world.
One of the things that's really stuck with me is this idea that instead of fearing AI as a threat, we see it as a partner, a collaborator in shaping a better future.
Absolutely. And the sources we've been looking at, they seem to suggest that this collaboration could be incredibly fruitful. I mean, imagine AI helping us to solve complex problems, make more informed decisions, even deepen our understanding of ourselves and the universe.
Yeah, it's like combining that analytical power of AI with, human creativity and empathy. But how do we make sure that this partnership works in a way that benefits everyone?
Well, that's where ethical considerations become really, really important. We need to be having those serious conversations about the values that guide the development and use of AI. Things like transparency, accountability, fairness. These are essential.
So it's not just about the code itself, but the intentions and values that are embedded in it. We need to ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want to create with AI? How can we make sure that it serves the common good?
Exactly. And the sources really are urging us to take an active role in shaping those answers. We can't just sit back and watch, as AI reshapes the world. We need to be engaged, informed, and willing to really challenge assumptions.
It's almost like AI is holding up this mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back our own values and priorities. If we want AI to be a force for good, we need to be really clear about what good actually means.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's not enough to just make AI more intelligent. We have to make it more aligned with, our human values.
It makes you wonder if this whole AI revolution is really about our own evolution as a species. Maybe by confronting these challenges of AI, we're actually confronting, deeper questions about what it means to be human.
I think you've hit on something really profound there. This isn't just a technological revolution, it's a consciousness revolution. AI is making us examine our own consciousness, our values, our place in this whole grand scheme of things.
This has been a really incredible deep dive. We've gone from the rise of digital twins to the limits of AI, the illusion of reality, the power of awareness. We talked about the challenges and opportunities of an AI-driven world and the importance of cultivating both individual and collective consciousness.
Yeah. And through it all, I think one central theme has really emerged. awareness is key. Our awareness of ourselves, of our values, of our interconnectedness with everything around us. This is what will guide us as we move into the uncharted waters of this AI age.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with a question that one of the sources posed. If awareness is the essence of our being, what steps can you take to cultivate and deepen your own awareness? How will you use this power to shape your life and contribute to a more conscious world?
Those are powerful questions, really worth pondering. And the answers, just like awareness itself, are always unfolding. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep being amazed by, the infinite potential of the human spirit.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI, consciousness, and the future of humanity. Until next time, keep those minds open and those hearts curious,